Good morning, everybody. Hope you're well. And getting back to Pesach and preparations for Pesach, every year I distribute many, many pounds of matzahs to many, many people. I've been doing it for about 40 years. Back in the days when we first started, shmur matzah was something that was really not a known commodity here on Long Island, as it was not in many places around the United States. Now it's a £1 million a year business in the States, and it's really incredible how it's grown all over the world. I think mostly due to Lubavitch, because of the large distribution that Lubavitch has made of free matzahs, and people just like it and they want to buy more. In any case, during the times that I go around visiting people, sometimes I have some interesting encounters. And yesterday I had one. It was a new person who I have never really distributed matzahs to. I had met him during the year and thought it would be nice to solidify the relationship a little bit by giving them some matzahs. I came to the house. It was my last house in the round. It was probably about 7 o'clock last night. And happened to be that there was a conservative rabbi, his former conservative rabbi. He was a president of a very large, prestigious conservative synagogue. And so he invited me in, and we had a very nice conversation. I want to share with you some of the points of that conversation, because I think it's good to know and good to put into a little bit of perspective. And perhaps for those of you who had these kinds of conversations, you can use perhaps some talking points. And for those of you who just happen to belong to a conservative synagogue, it's food for thought. So I explained to the conservative rabbi that for the most part, Chabad works with a very different type of business plan. Now, what do I mean by the business plan? It's not that we go out with a business plan. It just happens to be that we work in such a way where the shul is really very much rabbi-driven, not necessarily board-driven. Most of the synagogues out here, almost all of them, are board-driven. And the boards are looking for different priorities and different goals, perhaps, as far as what they want to accomplish. For us, as Chabad Shluchim, our goal is to fulfill the Rebbe's mandate. Our goal is to really try our best to be able to bring closer to Judaism as many Jews as possible. If they belong already, to help to give them the tools to be able to elevate and lift their affiliation, their traditional bent, their observance. It's not to take people away from the other shul. There are people who, by nature, will gravitate towards Chabad, and it's because of those people who leave some of these synagogues that many of them are very angry at us, because they feel that those 5, maybe 10 families who leave, sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, sometimes there's nobody, but whoever it is, they feel very upset that takes away from their income and from their affiliation to their movement. And I understand that, and that's definitely an issue that could be dealt with. But the good part about it is, as I explained to her, that the benefits of Chabad being on Long Island are tremendous. And I explained to somebody else another time, I didn't mention to her, but if Chabad, let's say Chas v'Shalom, had never come out to Long Island, didn't even exist, the Reform and conservative movements would still be going through the tremendous problems and challenges that they're going through. And those problems and challenges are partly because the boards have different priorities. The rabbis are pulpit rabbis. And I had a long talk with her about this, as a female rabbi, long talk with her about it, about how they're pulpit rabbis are now trained to be outreach rabbis. And today's day and age, just for a rabbi to sit around and give sermons from the pulpit is not going to fly. Besides the fact that it's a membership-based type of system, the business plan that they have, and much of it is based on people who need a bar and bat mitzvah. Now, that's very nice, but today a lot of people do their own tutoring, or they're not interested in having a year membership that they pay up front for a commodity that they don't really know what they're going to be getting. It's a completely different type of element today, and this the mindset of young people who have children who are of that age is very much into Amazon and just buy what you want when you need it and pay best price you can get it for it. And unfortunately, the idea of community is not as strong today as it used to be. And it's up to us to really try to rebuild our community. She, of course, commented that our system is give it for free, and eventually, hopefully, enough people will give money and support the organization to be able to support it. And thank God that's the way it's worked, and that's the way the Rebbe set it up. But I told her one thing I do want to share with you also, and that is that I explained to her that if I would be sitting with a group of conservative rabbis, which I'm happy to do, or Reform rabbis for that matter, and to explain to them what makes Chabad tick, or what's the success of Chabad, and what can they do in such a way that It's osios, or words that they can understand and that they can hopefully somehow be able to integrate. I would really give them two pieces of advice, and I want to share that with you. First piece of advice is that I think the rabbis need to have some independence and do fundraising themselves. As outreach rabbis, going out into the community, fundraising, developing some independence, being able to have programs, really going out there. But the most important part of what I think it takes to be a Chabad rabbi, and any rabbi today who really wants to dedicate themselves to the Jewish people and be able to really go out there and do something good and meaningful in terms of changing the community and building communities and building organizations and institutions and temples and synagogues and so forth and so on. I think the key is Ahavas Yisrael, love for a fellow Jew. A shliach is, from the time is very young, is grown up with the idea that every single Jew has that Jewish neshama, has that Jewish spark, has that pintele yid, that little spark within them, which is so beautiful and so holy and so godly. And we're all related because we're all part of the same spark, really. That spark is one Jewish soul, which is split into 15 million different bodies. And as a result, every single community leader needs to have that type of Ahavas Yisrael, that they're willing to have that passion and that dedication to really dedicate their life and go out of their way and do what is necessary to reach every single Jew, not only in their temple, but in their community, to be able to make sure that all of them have some connection to their Jewish heritage. And when the rabbis are trained that way, and the synagogues are focused that way, and the boards are accepting of that and realize that that is really the key to their future and to their success, then I think we would see a very, very different community. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening, although she did say there are some movements that are happening within JTS, the training, the seminary, and within some of the centers that are around the country. But on a massive scale, to be able to make that type of transformation, both in terms of the boards and the rabbinate, is really a very, very big change. And I don't know that they're going to be able to make that change, and for sure, I don't know if they're going to be able to make it in time. Meantime, thank God, Chabad is growing by leaps and bounds all around the world, also here in Long Island. And we hope and pray that everybody should really focus on helping a fellow Jew and going out of their way for a fellow Jew and celebrating Judaism with a fellow Jew and taking that message to heart. You don't have to be a rabbi to do it. Everybody on this line can do it. Everybody can reach out. And special thanks to Arthur Katz, who's a good friend, a Yedid, who's been very, very active in helping us to accomplish that, and in particular, to try to bridge that gap that exists in some ways between Chabad and some of the other movements out here on Long Island. Take care, everybody. Have a great Pesach, and look forward to continuing eventually. I don't know if it'll be this week or next week, but we'll be in touch. Take care. All the best.